Cool. Hi, Holly. Great. So I've looked, this is question 164, the first one we're looking at, and it is very textbook. You have nailed it. And we'll go to the actual answers. This question, you might have to go back and look at the what the question was, but hopefully you have you won't spend too long. You remember this was Hallie. This was about some bookstore that's just having issues with their internal controls. Now, the first two questions are textbook questions. Let's just go to let's see if we can find the actual question. Let's just very quickly find the actual question. So the question, yes, says that you should um, explain safeguards that they should implement to ensure there's no conflict of interest. So this is this area here where they were acting on behalf of two clients. So you need to go straight to the textbook and just pull out the answers. Key issue here is we need to let both parties clearly know what we're doing. Set up two separate groups, two separate teams, implement some Chinese walls, get some legal advice, if you like, and ultimately you want to sort of write that, listen, if this isn't going to work, you know, we probably just have to let one go, right? And so let's look at the answers very quickly as to what they're telling us to do. Um, Yes, I always seem to forget this one. This is potentially the use of confidentiality agreements signed by employees and partners for the firm. So very clear, getting both to seek additional advice, let them know that you're going to be acting as auditors, use separate engagement teams. Those are the big issues, preventing strict legal, physical, sorry, ensuring the strict physical separation of both teams and blah, blah, blah. So you can look at that. And then the next question asked about, so you I'll come back and look at yours. The next question says, explain the steps that the auditor should take to confirm the accuracy of the flow chart. So, I mean, really, it's a walkthrough procedure, really. Get what it is, get the flow charts, because remember, this is controls. The controls, really, what we're really doing is this question of inspecting AEIOU, right? Remember the AEIOU sort of those are the actual things we do. So analyze, inspect, observe, inquire, recalculate, if you like, reperform, that sort of thing. So we're really getting the notes. But here where we're trying to, you can see the big words tend to be obtain, get the notes, review, note if there are any issues. You almost kind of like, I think sometimes have to think on your feet. Reperform the walkthrough. I personally, these are the biggest ones. Reperform, interview the clients, and just to see whether there've been any changes ultimately, because sometimes there might have been some changes. You're basically walking through the system, and so really the test is, how can I break up my walkthrough? How can I break this up so I can get a number of points? Because ultimately you're reperforming the walkthroughs, and asking if there are any new systems, if the organization has grown. So going back to your answers, you did a good job of that. You said they should confirm if there's should advise exactly, separate teams, exactly. I think this is very good. This is the bit here that you can't do that. Good. Um, let's carry on. Then this next question goes on to ask us to look at the flow charts, reperform, yes, identify any weaknesses from last year, recommendations, perform the walkthrough again and look for any differences, any issues. That's the key point. Look at last year's report, discuss with management. Again, that's where we're going. Now, here, with internal controls, I've looked at this and you've got it right, spot on. So here's the thing. Every time you talk about a deficiency, you highlight the deficiency, and we always need to see the consequence of the deficiency. Critical. You'll see half and half, right, in the same box. What deficiency is and what the consequence is. Here we are, the deficiency, that's the deficiency. And here, customers are less likely to contact the stores individually. So that's the template for your working there, right? Okay, great. Then make your recommendation. And whatever your recommendation is, your test of control is on your recommendation. So you can see how neatly aligned these are. Review the inner branch transfer forms. And you've talked about the inner branch transfer forms. And I've looked at all your work here, and these are all very strong answers, and you followed literally the process. That's the risk, and then this could result in increased risk of fraud. I mean, that's the principle. And here it talks about authorized signatures, and you're like, confirm the authorized signatures are for relevant responsible official. So So really, you're on track. You're on track, and I've marked all of these are right. All of these are good. I've read all of these. I'll come back and score them. Substantive procedures, like I said here, I didn't say it in my first video, but every time you're doing the income statement, you're always doing analytics. You're always carrying out analytics, looking for trends, if you like, to see what's happened last year. That every income statement thing you're doing that just gives you a guide, suspicion as to something, whether or not you see. Because you see, ultimately, here's the issue. If somehow my revenue has gone up from one year to the next, well, if I can't see the evidence for this, then it means that I'm probably overstating my revenue. And so I'll carry out some cutoff testing to ensure that in all the invoices are in the right period. So maybe and that's the way you're thinking about it. Or there's some sales returns you haven't taken out, that sort of thing. Great. Um, Here we are, post year end expenses, invoices, ensure they've been in the right period. Oh, sorry, this is to do with purchases. So this is purchases. So the question again is the assertions are occurrence, completeness, classification to a certain extent. Um, yeah, I think so. Occurrence, completeness, because this is a question of accruals. Is everything in there? Classification. Do you have anything that shouldn't be rev purchases in purchases? And it says other expenses. So perfect. Definitely other accruals. Definitely in there. And then you have analytics to guide you. So and then accuracy. So we're actually looking at and you can pick a number of invoices and actually calculate, look at the VAT, if you like. Occurrence, an occurrence is walkthrough, right from purchase order to payment. So, and then of course, post year end payment also as well. So a number of things, if you like, that you can actually do here. But all these are good. All these are good. So I've looked at this, and I mean, in marking this, definitely you're now comfortable. I mean, you're passing comfortably now. You're definitely passing. I mean, all these are good full marks for A and B, um, and I probably might take off maybe 2, 3 marks here, but and maybe take off yeah 2, 3 marks here as well in substantive. But otherwise, that's a good. I think this question was out of 30. That would take me to 25 out of 30, something along those lines. Cool, great stuff. Hope that's helpful.